Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to talk about some of the early leaks that have been released for our upcoming chapter of 1065 of the One Piece manga. We'll first talk about each of the different pieces of information that we have, and then comment because we don't have the full chapter as of yet. Please keep in mind that these are just leaks, and early ones at that, and we don't have the complete information for this chapter. Please also keep in mind that as we present this, when the official translation comes out, there might be different ways that certain things are said, or things might be in a different order. So as the leaks come out, be sure to stay tuned to this channel as we'll bring more videos with much more detail and keep you informed about this upcoming chapter of One Piece. But before we get into the leaks, if you're new to the channel or even if you watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing your favorite video or this one with a friend. Without further ado, let's get into these leaks. So my friends, in these early leaks of chapter 1065 of One Piece, we're going to be getting a bit more information about the various punks, as well as some very important information about the main laboratory of Dr. Vegapunk. As we like to do with all of our leak videos, before going into greater depth and explaining what each topic might mean, we're going to give an overview of the topics, so then we can go into detail about each of the things we have presented in these leaks of chapter 1065. So for this first set of leaks, we have 5 things that have been revealed. Number 1, the color spread is dedicated to One Piece Film Red, which is about to release in the United States and other countries. Second, a Seraphim Jinbei attacks Sanji's group. Third, another new punk is shown, the two called Edison and Pythagoras, in which they are robots. York is also introduced, and that is the one that is responsible for eating for one of the other punks. Fourth, Egghead Island is not the island of the future. It's actually called the island of the past, because the technology is very similar to the technology of the ancient kingdom. And finally, fifth, at the end of the chapter, Luffy's groups find some ancient robots. So now that we've gone over all the topics that we've had leaks so far about this chapter, let's take each one of these in turn and talk about what it might represent in a little bit more detail, and then get an idea of what might happen in this overall chapter. First, we'd like to talk about the color spread of this new chapter, and it's clearly to advertise the new One Piece Film Red movie that's starting to be shown in more countries. Now, the film first appeared and premiered in Japan, but very soon it'll be in theaters in much more of the world. Being an essential movie to watch, even though it may not be completely canon, it still has amazing elements that are part of the original story of One Piece. One of the main things that's attracting a lot of us to go to the movies is Shanks' backstory, and his crew's abilities, and even a little bit more about the character Uta. Now, although she may not appear in the original manga in the way that she participates in the movie, she may be mentioned or referred to in future issues. Next, we're going to talk about the events that happen in this chapter, starting with the Seraphims attacking Karakuri Island, otherwise known as Egghead Island. Now, in the previous chapters, we saw that CP0 is going to Egghead Island to take all of the Vegapunk's lives. Not only the robots, but the original Stella Vegapunk themselves. When we got a glimpse of CP0, we saw that there was a Seraphim Kuma standing right behind them. And until that moment, we thought that CP0 was just taking that one Seraphim to help them. But in this chapter, we've seen a Seraphim Jinbei is also participating in this mission. Now, it could be likely that he was following the CP0 boat, but just in the water. And this way, he'd be able to reach Egghead Island much faster, and would also allow him to witness the meeting of Lilith and the Straw Hats. Because Jinbei is a fishman, he would have had a much easier time getting to certain places across the sea. So he might have even gone ahead to create a distraction or destroy enemies that were guarding the island. Because as we already know, CP0 never acts in a direct way. They're a much more sneaky and subversive and covert organization. So they usually focus on the main goals and avoid being distracted by trivial or outside things. This way, they can use the Seraphim as a distraction, while Lucci and his other companions look for the punks. By going in front and in first, Seraphim Jinbei managed to sneakily find the Straw Hat ship and clung to it, and in this way, he managed to be taken along with the other Straw Hats up to the top of the island by the large robot. This is going to allow Seraphim Jinbei the opportunity to reach the top of Egghead through Lilith's robots, and in this way, he was also able to reach the Straw Hats that are on top of Egghead Island. From the looks of things, it may be that this part of the Straw Hat crew that's at the top of Egghead will end up fighting the Seraphim Jinbei. The first combat, which they'll see a Seraphim for the first time, and then we'll be able to see how the next chapters unfold with the full powers of this Seraphim. Because these Seraphim are going to confront the Straw Hats, which are some of the strongest pirates currently, this is going to let us know exactly how tough and skilled these new Seraphims are, and the real threat that they could pose. The next leaks in the chapter show that we are also going to have the revelation of more punks. And the ones presented to us were the punks that had been missing. Edison, considered Punk 03, and Pythagoras, who is called Punk 04. And these two punks are described as robot beings. So far, we don't know what they look like or even how useful they are for Vegapunk, but because they're parts of Vegapunk, it still means that they've got to be playing an important role on the island. Punk Edison is described with thought, so he can represent Vegapunk's ideas, and he could be the punk that has the most creative ideas and sets other projects in motion, and he might even give the other punks their projects. Punk Pythagoras is described as being wisdom, walking alongside thoughts, and these two punks tend to be united or perhaps work together, as thoughts and wisdom can be responsible for creating these incredible inventions. Now, something we don't know is whether the other Vegapunks are robots or cyborgs. After all, when Luffy punched Atlas, it sounded like the noise of metal, even though they had the appearance of a human being. So it could be possible that some of the punks are fully robots, while others, or more advanced ones, are cyborgs and have some organic components. Another punk that was revealed in this chapter was known as York, being Punk 06, showing all the punks from Vegapunk, and from what we know now of him so far, York is the one responsible for eating for the other Vegapunk. Apparently, somehow, York manages to pass the eaten food to the other punk. Now, we still don't know if it's really food or just something that energizes them, like a battery or something of the like. York is also charged with keeping the other punks working, but it's possible that they have other functions besides eating so that the other punks can still function, since it says that the punks are all responsible for certain sectors of the island. So York could end up being the one responsible for creating the meal machines that we saw during the first few chapters of this arc, in which Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper were filling their bellies through these machines. Now, York is known for greed, but it could be for food, knowledge, or many other things. So this punk is going to be quite ambitious, although we don't know exactly how this ambition is going to be good or bad or how it takes shape. In this chapter, we're also going to have another incredible revelation. Now, unlike what people thought, Egghead Island is not the island of the future, even though it was created by Vegapunk, a very intelligent scientist with the ability to create futuristic items and inventions. However, this wasn't his focus when he created Egghead. Vegapunk created this location above the island so that he could create an island that aims to research ancient technologies that they used for 800 years ago. This technology is said to closely resemble that of the Ancient Kingdom, which means that there is a very big mystery that Vegapunk might be trying to uncover, as the Ancient Kingdom is something that holds a great deal of importance to One Piece's story and its universe. During the Void Century, this ancient kingdom was attacked for some reason, and then it was destroyed and forgotten from history. So this means that this kingdom may have something very important indeed, something that Vegapunk could be looking for. In this way, Vegapunk may be researching now about the ancient science that the people of the ancient kingdom used, and then be able to replicate and use it to create powerful weapons or achieve some personal goal of his own. And finally, out of the leaks, it's said that Luffy, who is still on the lower parts of Egghead Island, finds some ancient robots, probably some robots belonging to the ancient kingdom itself, since they're described as quite old. Now, since Vegapunk is creating these robots with ancient technology from the ancient kingdom, this could mean that he's also trying to create a new ancient weapon like Uranus, Pluton, or even Poseidon. This could also be some way of unifying these powers of the three ancient weapons, or perhaps something even more powerful and terrible of an invention, capable of competing with all the other ancient weapons. So as we can see, Vegapunk may be preparing for something very big, and that something could end up being used in this big fight that we know lies on the horizon during this last saga of One Piece. Now, because Vegapunk has a lot of this old knowledge, the only thing that may be preventing him from creating this powerful weapon is resources. But for as long as he's been working with or for the world government, he may have just been able to get whatever resources and funding that he needed. So that might be why the world government is wanting to now take his life. After all, Vegapunk may be very close to being able to create an ancient weapon, or may have already discovered something very important about the Void Century through this ancient technology, and that may be why his life is now in danger. But there you have it, folks. This is the earliest information that we have for our early leaks of chapter 1065. Once again, please make sure you stay tuned to the channel, because as more leaks come out, we will be sure to bring you many more events about this exciting and upcoming chapter of One Piece. But with all that covered, we'd love to know what you think about it. What do you think about this revelation that this isn't the island of the future, but rather Egghead Island is researching ancient technology? And also, do you think it was this technology that brought the ire and even the envy of the world? That's why they were brought down. And finally, what do you think it means when we find these ancient robots found by Luffy? Do you think they're old items left over from the Void Century, or perhaps just first attempts? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up this leak video, I'd like to thank all of you so much for watching the video, and especially those of you who stuck it out to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.